Calvary Hill. Yeah, Calvary Hill is also known as Golgotha, which is just the place where Jesus was crucified.
Yes. From the King Arthur episode?
I didn't remember the King Arthur episode, but I did remember that one fact about where they did Jesus bad. And now they're oh my God, they're taking the Son of the Lord. What are they doing to him?
Lore Boys here. The internet's #1 paranormal stepson podcast is back to combat all this spooky magic the Germans were into back in the 40s. I am your director, Peter O'Donohue, and my enhanced talent task force is...
Help me, hell bro, I'm stuck.
You're just stuck with like one hand in the door with your
in the dryer.
Yeah, exactly.
Just standing with my hand in the dryer, like help me, help me, Monster Man. I know nothing about Hellboy.
Yeah, I'm James, and my right arm also much stronger than my left arm for the reasons you can imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever you're thinking, completely true.
My arms are perfectly balanced, not because I don't masturbate, but because I masturbate with my left arm. So I'll do everything else with my right arm, and then I balance it out by doing that one thing with my left. And that equals all the other things I do in life.
Yeah. That would work, actually. It was apparently, I think, our 7th or 8th anniversary on May 28th. So thank you to everybody who has continued to make this possible, including, I suppose, Ethan and Jamie, considering without hosts, there is no show.
I had to think about it, too. It is 7, right?
7,
2017 is 1, 2, 3,
was 1
and then
year,
1, 2, 3, 4.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh, no, that's wait.
But this year's not.
No, it's not like a century where you start counting after the right there. It is
either count the first one or the last one. Yeah.
The first anniversary was 2018, so it would be 7 at this point, right?
It makes sense. We have about 350 episodes, which is like 50 a year, which we're good for. Yeah.
I got 8. I keep getting 8.
Well, because you're counting the first and the last.
I'm not.
We're in
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
But don't count 24. We're starting 24 right now.
No, because we can't not count 26. We started in 2016, right?
17.
Oh, sorry. I thought we started 2016. My bad.
So did I for a while, but I found out today that it was 2017. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, because I remember.
That makes sense because I started my job and I started working at the company we all work for in 2016, and it was probably a year.
I started 2015.
Yeah, you got me the job.
Yep.
Jamie hired me.
Ethan got me the job.
I just had to blow him for it. Hey, you didn't have to blow me for it.
Hey, wait, missed opportunity, idiot. I already cleared my probation. Sorry.
That was fun. Ethan and I started, and then we both got promoted within 6 months of each other, basically up until this point.
We got started. You got me a job in your department. Yeah. That department immediately downsized because I got hired for a game that they said would sell 2 million copies, and I laughed at the lead at the time and said, no, it's not, and it sold 200,000 copies.
It's also was very cyclical. There was a sports game involved, so it was you could get busy for parts of the year.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
Anyway, we're going to do a podcast about the company we all work for another time.
That's it. We just did the bonus content over at patreon.com/theloreboys. So
where we did talk about my swap and projects, all that shit. Yeah.
And we leaked all of our addresses.
Multiple times. Yeah, to make sure you could remember.
It involves a 5. That's a little teaser.
Just $3, and you two can dox us to the internet.
Well, you can dox Jamie and I. I have no idea what Ethan's address is, but I can get there through landmarks and that information boost.
Dude, we'll get Geo Rainbolt to just look out his window and tell us what tree that is on what highway.
That's true.
Done.
Yeah, exactly.
I fear him. Everyone should fear him.
Yeah.
So today's episode about Hellboy was requested by patrons Don't Tickle Me, Chaz, and Drifty, with backup from, at the time of writing, new face in the Discord, which was Mr. McCheese, which every time I looked at the script since I started this just made me laugh, so thank you. Thank you, Mr. McCheese, for your service.
He lost his position as mayor, right?
Yeah,
that scandal.
Exactly.
So
Or it's a 2-term thing, and he's retired and living happily in a lake house or something.
No,
right?
There was a scandal, Pete. I guess don't look it up. It's pretty terrible. Pretty awful that we're doing an episode
the
by that
stream Greedia has been out for McCheese for quite some time, all right?
I also noted I also noticed someone named Terry Miller has been commenting on our bonus audio, which I assume is our Terry
your boy, your
from
son,
Australia.
your beautiful son, your beautiful baby boy, Terry.
He took my last name.
Mm-hmm.
I put this in just in case if I forgot to ask before, just because this was written well in advance of when we were recording it. If there's any new patrons, welcome. I'm sorry about the shout out. I don't have you right now, so I fricked that up. So,
we did get a new one. I think I can look them up real quick.
Please, Jamie, pull up the clip, and by Jamie I mean Ethan.
Of course.
I'm looking at Hellboy Rule 34, so if you need any of that, I'm ready.
Okay, well, good. Well, while Ethan gets up our possible new patron,
we have Clippy.
Hello, Clippy.
Clippy, like the clip from Microsoft. Yep. There's also, I mean, I don't know if this guy's a patron or not, but Mayonnaise Man liked one of our posts, and I like that name.
okay, Mr. McCheese and Mayonnaise Man. I like we are
match made in heaven.
A couple of patrons away from like a real good cookout, like a couple of like a decent barbecue, right?
We're so white that we're like, McDonald's cheeseburger and mayonnaise. That's a good cookout, right?
It is. Yeah. We got Honey Boy. No ribs or black people, please. That would be ridiculous.
We got Honey Boy. Maybe that'll come in somewhere.
Oh, that honey mustard pork that I made a couple weeks ago on your recommendation, Jamie. I think you and Bobby was top tier. Loved it.
I said put mustard on pork. It was a revolutionary idea.
And they say white people have no culture.
Yeah, people's like, won't the high sugar content of mustard make it burn in the oven?
No, it's because I have honey. It was honey mustard. I have like Bobby Whitney's honey. Anyway,
I used their honey today in chicken fried rice. I put a little bit of honey in there, just sweeten it up a bit. It was very good.
I put honey up my butt to sweeten the colon. Let's talk about Hellboy.
We know a lot about honey on our butts. What do you guys know about Hellboy, if anything?
I've seen the first Ron Perlman movie, but like I don't remember anything from it. I remember there's a fish man. I know there's the titular character from The Shape of Water, Mr. Water, is in. Boy, yeah, that's all. Exactly. That's all I remember.
His breakout role.
I saw the Ron Perlman as well. I remember seeing it in theaters. It was in the air.
Right? Wasn't there a few of them? There's just two. Okay.
I saw the first.
I've only seen the first. That's why I say
Yeah, I saw the first. I saw the second one. I think it was on TV, and I like caught a couple minutes of it. But I saw the first one. It was in the era of where I was like a preteen becoming a teen, and we started going to movies with girls. I remember. I remember being.
I never did that.
Slightly sexually awkward nothing happening sexually, but feeling sexually awkward.
Yeah, having all the horny during Heckboy.
Yeah, exactly.
Nowhere to put it.
Exactly. I remember there's like fire everywhere. He had a motorcycle. He got that big one stone hand. He sanded down his what used to be big old horns, so he had nubs.
Oh, he got rid of the horny.
Yeah, he did, just like I did to my cat.
What an ironic message for you, horny preteen boy who wasn't able to watch the movie and learn the lesson to reject horny, return to monkey.
It's true,
right?
And I was back then too. I was like singing in the school play because I had a high voice like all the girls. And I had the Christmas solo because I was
imagine
castrato back then.
Prepubescent Jamie watching Hellboy so horny he's afraid and confused.
Absolutely. Plus Ron Perlman, dude. Look at those fucking chesticles he's got going on there.
Yeah, he was jacked in that one. Me personally, I've seen both the Ron Perlman movies, which are directed by Guillermo del Toro, friend of the show.
And Mr. Shape of Water himself.
Mr. Shape of Water himself. That's what I mean. It was his breakout role. He's one of Fishman. Mr. Water is one of Guillermo del Toro's like favorite collaborators, along with Ron Perlman and the giant robot.
It's the Sam Jackson to the Foot guy.
Tarantino.
Tarantino, that's it.
Fuck, we knew.
You knew who I meant. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
The fuck
Jamie,
guy.
Come on, it was so obvious. Name a second pervert in Hollywood. You can't.
The fuck guy with a weird obsession with the N-word. Tarantino, right?
Yeah, just write
Sam
scripts
Jackson
so
says one of those things is okay though, so he gets away with it.
Yeah. You just gotta write scripts so you can suck toes and say the N-word, and then you can do whatever you like.
You know what? I've never used the scripts I've written for for this show to get away with either one of those things. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't plan to either.
Well, you've done 1 out of 2, but I won't say which one.
I do suck toes on air. You're right. One thing I found out while putting this episode together, there's another Hellboy movie that Ron Perlman's not in. The cop from Stranger Things is in it, David Harbour. I watched a couple clips to see if I needed any of the information. The costume looks pretty good, but the prosthetic for his mouth is clearly bad because anything that's not re-recorded, he's just like fucking Halloween vampire teeth the whole time.
I saw that. I put a pic into boys of his face. It is not the same Ron Perlman that we're used to.
It's a different man.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
I don't
know how good the movie is, but it's fair that it's not the same character.
They're playing the same character, though.
Exactly. The gore, it's way more violent than the Ron Perlman ones, and the gore is mostly CGI, and this isn't even like I used to work in effects thing. CGI blood looks bad. It just, like, CGI water barely looks good, but it's, like, transparent, so you kind of get away with it. CGI blood looks like shit.
I mean, water in, like, video games is, like, notoriously hard to animate. Right?
Yeah, they like invented a computer to do it for BioShock, basically. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Like, so, and then also because I myself, other than the 2 films and the third one I'd never heard of, going into this is from a point of ignorance. So possible spoilers for comics, games, or the films or whatever. If you're worried about that sort of thing, I would recommend consuming your Hellboy content prior to this, and then you can use this to augment your experience, basically. So,
okay, are we? Sorry, maybe you don't have to tell me, but are we talking just the films, or because it's a comic book, right?
We're talking about we're talking about it's primarily the comics. Is a lot of the information I got was stuff from comics that I had looked up, because again the films are based on the comics themselves, and everything in like the lore dump in the first film takes place over the course of like chunk of the first comic, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're setting you up to be ready to read the comics and watch the movies.
Okay, cool. That's great, because I'll never read the comics. Not because I wouldn't enjoy them, but just because comics are so expensive. Crazy.
Yeah. So Hellboy, the character...
Does Audible do comics? Where it's like...
a big red man with a stone fist stands in the road.
And it says, blam! Yeah. Like, thank you, Audible.
Can you imagine? It's just like some... Like it's just like
described video, basically.
But it's like it's described video, but by like some boomer who just doesn't understand what comic books are, and just like, and now there's I don't know, there's this red guy, and he's yelling "bam" when he hits somebody. No, he's not yelling "bam." I guess his fist is making a bam sound whenever it hits this guy. I don't know what this is supposed to be.
You can hear him like thumb through 6 pages. Just like, I don't know what's going on here, and then just like skips to a different point.
So what the hell? This guy's trying to bang his teacher, and all the panels are backwards.
No, wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. This is a cool page. This page only has 1 picture. All the other pages had like 6 or 8 pictures. This one only has 1 picture. I don't know. This is pretty. Honestly, this is not bad. This comics book stuff.
A boomer Audible comics done by like my dad, basically, like a man who's never seen a comic would be a fucking great show.
I don't know if this is real or not, or just a meme, but I've seen audiobook of Where's Waldo, where it just goes, not Waldo, not Waldo, not Waldo, not Waldo, Waldo, not Waldo.
I mean, surely a meme, right? I love that you preface that by saying, I don't know if this is real or not.
As if the thing that we're concerned with of blind people being deprived of is Where's Waldo, right? Anyway, a quick note. So Hellboy was created by he's the illustrator and author of Hellboy, at least the first one. His name is Mike Mignola. Other than Hellboy, he worked on a lot of cool stuff that we might actually recognize. He worked on Disney's Atlantis, which is one of my favorite animated films from back in the day. And he designed, it said redesigned, I don't know what he would have looked like before this. He redesigned Mr. Freeze in the Batman animated series, which I've never seen, but I have heard is fantastic.
Used to look like Hellboy.
Yeah.
Red, big horns.
It's like I don't really get a Freeze vibe from the red guy, really.
I really don't know that much about comics, but I feel like I have I've heard things over the years, I guess, like conversations, And Mike Mignola to me has always been like Dave Attell to comedians, where he's like a comic writer's favorite comic writer. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like he's never gotten like the fame and acclaim that you would maybe expect, but like
it's funny. I found out who Dave Attell
really
was like 3 weeks ago.
Really? He's been on Comedy Central since we were like kids.
When I was a kid, like I used to see him on Just for Laughs and all that for sure.
R.I.P. too. Also to a real show.
Yep.
So I really like his art style that you guys will see, and the patrons as well will see on our Discord, which is linked below. He doesn't use any gray shadows. It's all very like black on color. So I'm really looking forward to what we can do with whatever dumb thing I end up drawing. I'm looking really forward to reproducing it and kind of like finding my own technique to reproduce this, because his art style is really cool. And you can also see that at Lore Boys Podcast on Instagram. So today we're going to start with friend of the show, King Arthur, the King of England, that we have already done an entire episode on, which maybe we'll remember to link below.
We did a fucking King Arthur episode?
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Of the round table. That one was
okay, don't say the round table. Like that's the only place we would have learned it.
Merlin, you know him?
Adrian's Wall. It was like, I'm telling you, man.
Excalibur, dude.
Excalibur.
No, that was around like December. It was around the time that you were just getting pregnant with your daughter. I remember.
Yeah, this is like 3 months after she was born.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
It was December of some time. I remember.
It was February.
Yeah. February? Okay.
According to Listen Notes. That's when it released. We might have recorded it in February or in December because
Chris, I remember baby.
Me with a newborn, we were probably banking episodes, right?
It was close to pinball because I remember going on a pinball date with the stand-up comedian actually who did a Just for Laughs thing. Ripped to a real one, the date and the Just for Laughs.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You said that. I had to Google. I was like, "Is Dave Attell dead?"
When Jamie went on a date to play pinball with Dave Attell, who I had never heard of.
He got a handy. It was pretty cool.
He left his hat on the whole time. He gave me a handy. He wouldn't take it off.
So. In our story here, King Arthur conceives a male bastard named Mordred with his half-sister and witch, Morgan Le Fay. This would be Arthur's last male heir for centuries, and all of his line after this, after conceiving the bastard, would be only daughters. All of them became witches. So I'm going to drop in the pictures here of Arthur and Morgan. Arthur Morgan.
I was just gonna say, holy moly,
Dutch.
Is that deliberate?
I'd imagine so. I think the Scottish writers of Red Dead Redemption probably were pulling from UK fantasy.
I left my stone arm back in Blackwater, Dutch.
So this is the art style. It's very, very cool. And this is what Arthur and Morgan Le Fay look like. Morgan is based off Morgan from Arthurian legend. She is also known as Morrigan, Morgana, or my personal favorite, Morgante. And in the
that's the Spanish version.
It is.
Telemundo.
El Telemundo. Morgante. On the ocean. In the original legends, which I think, I did not look up our old episode, I think the Welsh monk Geoffrey Monmouth invented both Arthur and all the characters in his orbit around his round table in the 12th century or something like that. In Morgan Le Fay is also an enchantress or a witch in the original writing from Geoffrey Monmouth. So she's carried over completely from the original legends. Morgan Le Fay gained her magical abilities, I believe, in a deal with a demon named Elagos. Now, I got really into some of this stuff here, and spoilers if you want to guess what episode I'm doing around Halloween, if you can remember this. Elagos is from a compilation book, and God, this is fucking cool. It's called The Lesser Key of Solomon. It is a real-world spooky book. It is an anonymously compiled collection from the 17th century of just like Dark Age demonology. Somebody or like a group of people anonymously put it all together.
Cool.
And like it's about like demons and sorcery and all like
the 72 demons, the 72 sigils. This is rad as hell, dude.
Exactly. We're gonna get into.
Is there a Fraggle Wump in there?
No, but I do have a couple of names that have been recycled throughout a lot of fiction that you guys will probably recognize.
Because the Fraggle Wump, this is from Hellboy, apparently. But anyways.
That's probably like a pixie monster or something. Like Hellboy and The Witcher have a lot in common. Of like...
It looks more like the Red Baron's abortion than anything.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Why the Red Baron? I mean, sure. Oh, the Bloody Baron.
The Bloody Baron, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. The Red Baron, I know he's a pilot.
Yeah. Yeah, you remember you shot down Snoopy? You look just like this guy.
I haven't played Witcher 3 in a little while. Although I just added it to my wish list this week on PC. I'm like, if it ever goes on sale, I'm gonna rebuy it.
I have DRM free copies of that game. As soon as I get a new PC, Jamie, I can give you all the free shit you want. Don't you fucking worry about it. Don't worry. So in the Lesser Key of Solomon, like Ethan said, because he pulled up the clip there, is described the 72 demons along with their ranks, I believe, in hell itself. A quick glance at the Wikipedia summary here gives us the ranks: the king, duke, prince, marquis, and president, along with a few names, like I said, we'd recognize. So we do have King Bael of Hell, so Bael. Duke Elagos, who gave Morgan Le Fay her powers. Paimon, which the only place I've seen Paimon is in the movie Hereditary. It's the demon that possessed the girl and then the kid at the end. Is the demon that they talk about in that movie.
It's the microtransaction Digimon. Paimon! Yeah. He shoots a bunch of pennies at you. Yeah.
And then also Belial, which I know as a battle mech from MechWarrior, basically.
So are you saying, though, like, are all 72 demons in the Hellboy canon that we're going to talk about, or are you saying those are the only ones you recognize?
No, these are ones that you might recognize. This is really just, I got stuck on the Lesser Key of Solomon, and I was like, oh, cool, look, you recognize the name Bael. Yeah,
the D&D fans will recognize Asmodeus is listed in there as well.
Yeah, Belial is in.
There's also, I'm looking through these names, they're all great. You have Asmodeus, you have... there's also Count is one of the things. So there's Count Glazia Labolas. There's also
President Amy.
Yeah. I was just gonna say one of these is not like the other. There's 72 names. They are all like Latin demon names, and then there's President Amy.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I put her in. Don't worry.
Way to go, girl power! What a girl boss! Oh my god.
Belial and Asmodeus. They're both in Diablo 3.
Asmodeus.
Belial is like
in Diablo.
So Belial is the kid in Act 2 or 3 who like pretends to be helping you the whole time, but then he's like the god of lies or the demon of lies. And then Asmodon, he looks like Urgot. He's got from League of Legends. He's got the pincer legs and he's got this big obese body on top of it, and he has like flame balls in his hands.
Is he in the trailer for Diablo 3?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'll put a pic in.
I've got the pictures here for you and the patrons as well.
Belial's also a D&D devil as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like Sabnok. Sabnok's a cool name.
Great, yeah. Nothing beats Amy, dude. Come on. Are you kidding?
No.
President.
Oh, sorry. That's Asmodon, actually, not Asmodeus.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I think he's a playable character in Heroes of the Storm as well.
I think you're right.
So I posted for you guys here the medieval, the 17th century Elagos art, and also Mike Mignola's art for Elagos. Mike Mignola's art is fantastic, especially recently, dude. Weird medieval art is just so fucking cool, man. Like, I can't get over it. It's so cool.
That guy's got horns for eyes.
Yeah, I like the fact we got slightly derailed here because this almost changed the entire episode. I got stuck on the Lesser Key of Solomon. I was like, no, Pete, the people don't know. But like, thank God us talking about this will likely just MK Ultra like this into someone's brain, and we can get a request in October and pretend like it was their idea.
Yeah, we'll do this in The King in Yellow.
Oh yeah, there you go. That gives me a great excuse to rewatch True Detective.
Never watched it.
Pause for effect. I have never watched. I don't know what you're talking about.
I thought when you put down your drink there, Ethan, you were going to react to that. That's why I waited for you. My bad.
Nope, I don't know how to. I don't know how it ties to a show that I've never watched.
Pete's got Pete's got good audience sense. That was an applause break for everyone listening.
Sorry, I just gotta make sure you guys remember how to right-click and truncate silence on Audacity.
I don't normally, but
as I'd mentioned, the family line of witches continued for centuries until Walpurgis Night, 1574, when the demon Azael planted a demonic seed in the 16-year-old witch Sarah Hughes. Walpurgis Night is the eve of the feast of Saint Walpurgis, a German saint who apparently protects you from demons and whooping cough, which I could have used recently.
Oh, Ethan sneezed right when you said that. I think I know we normally ignore that.
Man.
I had whooping sneeze. I'm sorry, guys.
Bro, we need some Saint Walpurgis magic right now.
What was it? Wampus Night? What was it? Walpurgis?
Walpurgis Night.
You said it. I thought that was a person's name when you said until Walpurgis Night. I thought you were saying like until this person came along, and all I could think was like, man, that would be a great like 70s disco or 70s like black R&B artist name. You know what I mean?
Walpurgis Night.
Hey, baby, I'm Walpurgis Night. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'll just be a great DJ name too.
That is,
absolutely.
Yeah. And sorry, is that a real event or is this a
Walpurgis Night is real. He is a real guy. Saint Walpurgis is a real German.
Walpurgis Nacht.
Walpurgis. The demon seed, and also here's a picture of Azael. The name Azael is taken from the Hebrew Bible, and this is a picture of what he looks like. I just gave you the Mike Mignola art.
The text sounds like some British bullshit, by the way. Your father was lord over the witches of Lancashire and Abbotsbury.
Lancashire.
Dude, after playing and talking about AC Valhalla for 100,000 years, every time I see one of those names, even though I've heard the actors say Lancashire, I'm just like, how did you do this? How many takes did that?
Your father was lord over the witches of Lancashire and Abbotsbury.
I love the very serious quest arc that takes place in Snottinghamshire, and I'm just like, no. No, thank you. I don't take any of this seriously. I don't care what is going on.
Yeah. Well, how cool would it be if England was a real place, right? Like it's such cool stories from there, but like, dude, could you? It would be really silly if it was real. Yeah, dude, that'd
Hellboy.
be so fun.
The Hobbit.
Yeah,
that was there.
And the sequel to the Hobbit, The Hobbit 3,
Middle
Battle of the Five Armies. So the demon seed would eventually be born as Hellboy or Anung Un Rama. But this would actually happen much later. Throughout the rest of her natural life,
most 16-year-old pregnancies result in demon births, I feel like. No, I'm sorry. It's fine. If you have young parents, I don't mean that.
If your dad is the Red Baron or something, whatever the fuck you said earlier.
I would just be terrified to have a kid if I was at 16. But
I'd be terrified now.
People have done it.
I just got my finances are barely in order.
It is an extremely modern phenomenon that you don't have a kid at 16. Throughout our history, that was the norm for sure.
Someone at the park
you may have noticed you dumped a lot of loads into a small plastic bag that you buy at the
exactly. Those didn't exist. God didn't give us those when he gave Noah a
plastic
fucking
in the 40s.
Yeah, he gave Noah a fucking ark and he couldn't give us that.
Yeah.
God.
Someone at the park was telling me when she's older now, but whenever she had her kid at like 34, 35, it was considered a geriatric pregnancy at 34, 35, which is totally normal, I feel like, in our age group to have a kid at 34, 35. But
I've heard it gets more dangerous. Even my ex's doctor was just like, birth control gets really dangerers the closer you get to 40. And she did have a stroke when she was 37.
I thought we talked about this.
So did Pete while she was in the hospital. Hey, am I right?
I thought we talked about this last week, but I realized I was talking to somebody at work about it. But the fact that they call it geriatric is like such a fucking slap in the face. Like, we have a friend who is like, she's having her second because she's like, I don't want to wait 2 more years and be like a geriatric pregnancy or whatever. And it's like, it's so fucked up that they still call it that. You know what I mean? Like,
pregnancy. Yeah, it's like what it's because you're supposed to die when you're 41.
Yeah, they call it a barren miracle if you have a baby at 36.
Yeah. A red barren miracle.
Yeah, of course. Oh no, that's a different guy.
Sorry, dude. The demon seed would eventually be born as Hellboy, but later. So this was this was not her first child when she was 16. Thankfully, she did have a geriatric birth here.
Sorry, so born Anum, is not Hellboy.
Anung Un Rama is Hellboy's hell name. That is his demonic name.
Okay. Anum means blessing of God. I looked it up.
And Rama means a lot of it or something.
It's
a Chinese noodle.
It's a Quranic name that means blessing of God or blessings of God.
Oh,
and
cool.
It's unisex. Fun fact.
Oh, like my barber.
Mm-hmm.
So Sarah Hughes, my low barber,
with his hair with just his stone fingers, like no scissors.
Yeah. I think Pete was saying that his barber is a blessing of God.
I do all the time.
Yeah, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah, I will have my bangs done. There's your episode title. I like that one. So Sarah Hughes
I'm workshopping it a little. Don't worry.
Yeah, you do it. You know what? Not my department. You take care of it. I'll just put it on the picture. So Sarah Hughes had 2 more children, a son who became a monk and a daughter who became a nun. The fact that she is a witch is very funny because, like, even then, it's just like the kids always rebel. It's like,
that's it.
Mom, we're both chaste. Like,
gosh, Mom, it's not a phase. I really do love God.
Yeah. I also love that before this, I was just like, try not to swear, and I immediately failed.
The mom barges into the room. There's a cross. It's like burns her hand as she tries to enter. Mom, I'm busy.
Yeah. Instead of catching him jacking off, he's like trying to hide a Bible in a porn mag.
Putting a Bible under his pillow, like nothing.
So on her death,
Anum, you've been in the bathroom a long time. What are you doing in there? He's got the big like Torah scroll. It's all like rolled down. It's in the toilet paper. He rolls it back up.
Instead of his pants being down, the scrolls all the way down at the bottom. He's like, oh, nothing. Stuffing his little curls up. JB
did 100% visual gag for that. Just no sound at all.
I knew that it was just for you guys. Yeah. We need to add some videos so you guys can see all my antics. Yeah.
Right? It's full of antics, though, honestly. Sorry, go ahead.
On her deathbed in 1617 in Bromwich, England, which I believe is a real place, Sarah repented for her sins and ordered that her son and daughter, who are unnamed for the record, the only child she has that gets a name is fucking Hellboy.
It's Hellboy.
She repented for her sins and ordered her son and daughter to chain her coffin shut and protect it for 3 days from Azael. They failed. On the first night after her death, Azael arrived, killed both of Hellboy's step-siblings, basically, took Sarah and her coffin down to hell. Hellboy was born after Sarah was consumed by fire within her coffin. Azael cut off Hellboy's arm and replaced it with the giant stone fist called the Right Hand of Doom. It'd be funny if he cut off his left hand and put it there, so he's just got one upside-down thumb.
Yeah. He's got 2 right hands.
Azazel, not Azael. Azazel is the demon, like the necromancer demon in Diablo 3. I'm pretty sure I'd heard one of you guys say that name before. Like when I was going through the Lesser Key of Solomon, like everything looked familiar, but I took the ones that I knew, and not the ones that I thought I knew. But yeah, definitely.
Azazel is a demon from the Jewish Bible. The Hebrew Bible, as described in the Book of Enoch. His role as fallen angel partly remains in Christian and Islamic tradition.
What other Jewish demons do you know?
Jeff
Ari
Epstein?
Shafir? No. There's that one that you always hear about that I'm trying to remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. But
I'll think of it
one. Later.
Behemoth?
No,
or
it's
is that
kind
a
of
monster? Maybe, I don't know.
One time you brought it up, and then
Rael.
Saucy asked for Jewish lore after I brought it up. What, Beelzebub?
Beelzebub
is just the devil, I think. I don't know. Anyway, so the Right Hand of Doom is an artifact that could free the 7-headed dragon from the Book of Revelations. And in this case, there's another kind of connection throughout all the Abrahamic religions here. It is called the Ogdru Jihad, which is the name for the 7-headed dragon from the end of the Bible there. This is like a quick ignorance.
Sorry, there's a fucking 7-headed dragon in the Bible? God, I gotta read this book.
Yeah, I know.
Cool as hell.
Yeah, it comes back at the end.
Oh, fuck.
Saucy also told us the story from the Bible that this one guy was so fat, every time someone tried to stab him in the stomach, he would just absorb it into his rolls. So he survived.
There was an episode of CSI where that happens. I remember that.
I mean,
We said that's not real, and then Saucy pulled up the clip.
I believe
Saucy
Saucy grew up in a religious household.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, a quick ignorance note here as far as like researching Ogdru Jihad specifically. I'm pretty sure it's a 7-headed dragon from the Book of Revelations. I don't know if it's a 7 individual heads or like one entity with 7 heads and one personality, basically, or if it's like Ghidorah where the 3 heads have different personalities. Because overall, everything I read about it, it was either referred to as it or they. So I don't know if it is a monster or like 7 monsters with one body, basically, like a group of monsters.
I don't know how dragon pronouns work, but I'll
try. Goddamn liberals trying to get me to learn all these new fucking pronouns. First they want me sort out. Then they say they. I don't know how many of them I'm talking to. Huh?
This goddamn 7-headed blue-haired dragon, blue-haired white-eyed dragon. God damn it!
They're asking for a jar of crickets to be fed in the classrooms. I tell you.
Like a bearded dragon, it just wants crickets. Yeah, just so if I get the terminology wrong about like this character again, like I went into this completely blind. Basically.
I love the idea of the lunch program, and there's like crickets, rats, boxes of orange juice, oatmeal bars, like just all this stuff that you need for humans and for your dragons.
Mm-hmm.
So when the demon princess found out about this whole impregnating an earth woman basically thing, Hellboy had already been sent away and hidden somewhere in hell by his father Azael, and as punishment for having nasty sex on earth, Azael was stripped of all of his demonic powers and abilities and then frozen in ice, much like Satan in Dante's Inferno at the bottom in the 9th ring of hell, or the ninth circle rather.
Okay,
right, that's gravity stored in the balls.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Right.
Okay.
You write jokes into your script, Pete. Did he have dirty sex with the witch? I thought he just like burned her body in hell, and that's where the body came from.
No, he impregnated her when she was 16. I didn't read the comic, so I don't know if Mike Mignola drew a sex scene.
But she was. I thought you said that he was birthed whenever she burned in hell.
Yes, but I also mentioned, I know, because we were kind of off track very quickly.
Pete's dad.
Wait, hang on a second. You got to let me stay on track here.
Reading the dirty sex with a 16-year-old book.
What the hell? There's a devil, and he's. What's he doing there? I've never seen someone do that to him.
How old is she? Oh, she dropped her driver's license. She's only 16.
Her driver's license is in 1540.
Now Azazel, the Lord of Hell, is standing with his hand in a dryer. I don't know what's happening anymore.
And he's drinking rosé. He must be gay.
Yeah, no. Because I had mentioned, we're just kind of all over the place, but at the beginning here at least, I had mentioned that he implanted his demon seed in her, and he was only born later. So Hellboy was only released from his mother's body when she was born.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Gotcha.
It's all good. We got Friday energy on a Wednesday night. It's Hump Day. Who gives a shit?
Exactly.
Speaking of Hump Day and 16-year-olds, I guess, we'll get more into demons after the break.
Oh no. Oh no.
Welcome back from the break, everybody. So time skipping ahead a bit, we're going to come to January 1869. Nice. And on the 21st of January, Ethan's favorite Russian and alleged big hog haver was born. Grigory Rasputin.
Okay, yeah. I was like, what? Who? I was like, Lenin had a big hog? I don't remember this.
Gregorius put it in where?
So, throughout his life, Rasputin was plagued by visions of the future, dreams, and was also gifted with magical powers. So he was born this way, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't know that much about real life Rasputin. I've heard, I think, one podcast. You
just put the
him.
Song on a lot whenever we have like a shared playlist.
I do listen to the song a lot. It's a banger tune. Yeah, Boney M, I think it's by. Speaking of 70s disco, that is exactly what I was thinking of when I was thinking of Wilder Spook Night or Walpurgis Night.
Oh, Walpurgis Night, yeah.
But like fully
Walpurgis Night, we got rah Rasputin.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get all the big hog guys on the dance floor.
Rasputin is like fascinating in that everyone back then had all sorts of undiagnosed mental things, I guess you'd call them. Rasputin was probably just like schizophrenic, right? And just like rose to such prominence in the Russian Empire at the time. Like it's so fascinating that like there was just this guy, and like there is this thing where I mean, like jesters obviously are talked about throughout history as being like probably pretty influential with certain kings who actually like really liked their jesters, right? And likewise, you hear sometimes
we like ours.
You hear sometimes about how, and I don't know how true this is, but how in like a lot of Eastern cultures, schizophrenics will see like very peaceful and like harmonious like hallucinations, essentially, just because of how the culture treats them and perceives them, basically. Mm. So just Russia at that time was just perfectly set up to have this guy come into a position of a tremendous influence within the Russian upper class.
Yeah. Like he was actually like, it's funny you bring this up, that like not even a tangent. Rasputin's life, other than being actually magical throughout his childhood, before starting to work and like serve Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, is the same. But he was like straight up born in a Siberian ditch. Like him and his parents were like mud farmers in a still barely developed part of the world, right? In 2024. Yeah. Like northern Russia and northern Canada have a lot in common, where it's very hard for humans to get a foothold there due to the total lack of agriculture, right?
Yeah, you can't grow crops.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, which is like the only reason we had civilization at all is because like of like fertile dirt in and around, like in the Middle East.
Exactly.
Like, my mom was trying to convince me to move up to Nunavut at one point. She's like, you could go there, you could be a pizza delivery guy, and you could make like $35 an hour. I'm like, okay, yeah, but a gallon of milk is going to cost you like $12.
That's exactly what I was going to say. As a guy who has been connected to Northern Canada for his entire life, Jamie, that is exactly what I was going to say. It's like, you make $35 an hour because milk, like, or like one can of Coke is $6 when I was there in the 90s, right?
I know a guy who goes up 3 months a year, welds, just does welding, comes back, and he has enough money to live for the year. So that kind of seems kind of cool.
Yeah, that's the way to do it for sure. To go up to work and then not live there, not have to pay
or just
all that.
Work for them remotely for your entire life, like my dad does, right? Like basically what he does for the women's shelter. So while working at the palace,
it's just a house. It's not a women's shelter like they need shelter from somewhere else. It's just like, it's really cold up there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's from the wind.
Shelter from the elements.
Yeah, exactly.
So while working at the palace, Rasputin had an affair with a woman named Zoya. This is from Mike Mignola's fiction. I could not find an actual woman within the Russian palace named Zoya.
They're gonna end there.
I couldn't find an actual woman. Good night, everybody. There is a woman. Now, this is very cool. This is a real lady here. I mean, real lady. I mean, from my perspective, a real girl. There is a woman named Zoya, and I'm so sorry, Kosmodemyanskaya. And she is considered one of the heroes of the Soviet Union, thanks to her many acts of sabotage against the invading Nazis during the Second World War. So we're going to get into a lot of sabotaging the Nazis in the second half of the show here. So I would lore boys canon that Mike Mignola chose this name on purpose. Sadly, Zoya was captured and executed by Germany in 1941 when she was 18. So she had been sabotaging like Nazi machinations as a teenager the entire time, which is fucking hardcore.
I mean, we were talking earlier about how medicine, like throughout the years, has done women dirty by calling it geriatric pregnancy at the age of 35. Yeah. But like history also does women dirty. That like when there are incredible women in history, they just don't get talked about or written down, right? Yeah. So it's like there's just so many of them are lost, and just like the perfect example of like, there's just this badass 17-year-old who was fucking killing Nazis, as Brad Pitt would say. And
there's probably more documentation on the Polish bear Wojciech that carried ammunition across a battle.
Hey, listen, Jamie, that bear ate a lot of cigarettes, okay? And that's... obviously you're completely right. So, like, I would like to think that Mike Mignola choosing this woman's name specifically is a homage to a lesser known... I mean, and also living in the West TM... can you imagine, like, a woman doing something cool in the Soviet Union? brother, that is capitalism poison right there, baby.
No, exactly. I was just gonna say that's the communist dream, right?
Yeah, exactly. Whoops.
It's the Red Scare is also about period blood, I guess.
Yeah. We're gonna about all of history's greatest women from A to Y, and it's like that's like the history book basically. So the affair resulted in the birth of a little girl named Varvara, who Zoya had named after Rasputin's legitimate daughter, Varvara, who was born in 1900, and she did this out of spite.
I was gonna say that's a power move.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so like even the made up Zoya that we're talking about is still a badass. But the real Varvara Rasputin is a real woman. She like died in the 80s or something like that. It's like Rasputin's actual daughter. If you want to look up his, if you want to pull up the clip of his family tree there. The bastard Varvara in the comics went on to become possessed by the demon Yam Yael after she and her mother were abandoned in the snow by Rasputin. Yam Yael casually kind of just hid in her body, and as she ran the Soviet Paranormal Research Division called the SSS, or the Special Sciences Service, excuse me, he was exorcised from her body in 1956, and then Varvara used herself as a conduit to bring Rasputin back for, I believe, the second time, and we're going to get into his first resurrection shortly here. So obviously, you need to be killed before you can be resurrected. Mm-hmm. So this, in real life and in Hellboy fiction, kind of plays out in the same way. Prince Felix Yusupov shot him. However, he claims, like, this is in real life. This is the cliche we get, the stereotype, the Team Fortress 2 achievement, where it's just like, well, Rasputin, he may have been schizophrenic, but he was also unkillable, right? Yeah. So Felix Yusupov claims that Rasputin managed to drink 3 glasses of wine filled with cyanide, and when that didn't work, he shot him twice in the chest, and when that didn't work, he had to shoot him in the head. But Prince Yusupov was very much just like, no, he was so strong, he drank cyanide, and I shot him twice, and I still had to fight him off, and I fucking got him, man. I don't fucking think this happened. I'm not gonna lie. Recently, more recently, I did not look up the date of her research here. This is a real lady. Dr. Carolyn Harris of the University of Toronto states that the official autopsies, even at the time, showed no evidence of poisoning, drowning, or multiple gunshots. Turns out just one to the dome definitely fucking just did it. Basically, he just got shot in the head one time.
It could happen to the best.
Hey, right? Yeah, exactly. We can't actually check anymore because in 1917, after the revolution, Alexander Kerensky, who the guy from BattleTech was named after, had his body exhumed and cremated to ensure that his gravesite wouldn't become a rallying point for people who were still loyal to the Russian royal family. Also, probably his penis wasn't cut off and like put in a jar in the Kremlin. But I did have a lot of fun.
That might have happened. Honestly, of all the things, like I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of with you on the unkillable aspects of it. But like, that was absolutely something that people did at the time. Like Jesus's foreskin is still like regularly like auctioned. You know, like everyone claims that they have Jesus's foreskin. There's a bunch of churches that say like, yeah, no, the real Jesus's foreskin is with us here. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we found it stuck in the rock that he was behind. He got resurrected.
Yeah, he got circumcised.
Yeah, it was underwear like rolled over. I had a lot of fun just because I've had longer than normal to think about this script. I was having a lot of fun thinking about like current Putin in the Kremlin, and like Rasputin's penis is in like the glass dome from Beauty and the Beast, like talking to him like the Green Goblin.
He tearily just traces his finger along the glass.
Now what the hell is this page? We got current President Vladimir Putin. He's talking to. Oh, this is the guy from the last page. Remember when the gun said blam? And then the prince cut the guy's dick off? It seems like that dick has ended up in Putin's office now. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, believe whatever you want about Rasputin. The pinheads in the University of Toronto can't ruin your fun no matter what. All right.
The glass dome would also have little glass balls, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, that's how you know it's locked in, right? It would be one of those it's like the twist and lock mechanism to hold in the base, basically, to keep it airtight.
We're using a lot of great terms. Like when you said dome, Pete, I was like, that's a great choice of words. And now, we're talking about the base. It's all on par for we're talking about a penis and a penis.
We are,
Yeah.
it is. We're all talking. I mean, like I said, dude, your favorite Russian, famous big hog haver.
You have to take the elevator to Putin's office up the shaft.
Up the shaft.
Oh yeah, there you go. I'm
you gotta go
assuming
up,
there's a
you
second
gotta go
floor to the
up and
Kremlin.
down and
I
up
don't
and
know.
down and up and down the shaft. You have to like take it to the 20th floor and then back to the ground floor and then to the 20th floor and then to the ground floor a few times before you can get to the 21st floor.
Like Tucker Carlson had to edge the elevator the whole time before he could have a fucking meeting.
He's like, honestly, Russia's great. The scrotum is great. The balls great. Grocery store is great. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So,
Speaking of people who deserve a bullet in the head, huh?
Oh yeah, exactly. It's like I would love to see him drink 3 glasses of wine full of cyanide. So Rasputin's, I mean, he's more of a Zen guy. Rasputin's spirit was contacted. Rasputin's spirit was contacted by the Ogdru Jihad and sent back to Earth as a servant in the physical realm. He would spend a few years meditating in Italy until he was discovered by Heinrich Himmler of the Nazi Party in 1937. So this is both fiction and real history. Himmler joined the Nazi Party as an activist in the mid-20s. Our Wolfenstein episode goes more into the actual formation of this before they were elected and obviously did the war. And it's all really like the early parts of this still are for the same reason. The post-World War I, the economic stuff, and then all the racism is all still canon up until this point. In Hellboy's fiction, he is still an active member and architect behind much of the Nazi atrocities until he was finally captured in 1945, where during a medical exam, he killed himself with a cyanide tooth. And like I said, that is still... Hellboy Himmler still dies in 1945 after being captured by the Allies.
Was he at least trying to take out everyone in the room, like Paul Atreides' dad?
No, yeah, it's like I hate to say it, Himmler vastly more cowardly.
Speaking of people who deserved a bullet to the head, right?
Yeah, exactly. They wanted to interrogate him, and he had the secret tooth ready to go.
Yeah,
Adolf Harkonnen.
the Chad Rasputin sitting there with just a bottle of cyanide, like sipping it like a beer,
yeah.
while Himmler chokes on a tiny little tooth.
So, like in real life, Himmler was very interested in paranormal research, which this really disappointed me to read. And I'm gonna. It also it's one of those things you learn, but the fake news is so much funnier. Apparently, Hitler thought that all the paranormal stuff the Nazis were doing was mumbo jumbo, which is,
I mean, yeah,
bad.
I don't know where you read that, Pete, but like
it's just playing Wolfenstein. I was just like, sure.
No, I'm saying like I don't know where you read that Hitler thought it was mumbo jumbo, because like you can say he thought it was mumbo jumbo as much as you want, but like he funded the shit, like. Absolutely. He funded Himmler. He put Himmler in place where he was. Himmler was one of his closest confidants. They would have talked regularly, and Himmler was doing all this shit. So, like, by my record, I'm like, no, Hitler believed it at least a little bit, that he was willing to spend thousands or millions of dollars on this, right? Like,
can I have an extra blank check for witchcraft? He's like, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
The name had a little something to do with it, right? Like, if I name myself, like, James Amir Put Out, like, I could probably work my way onto the wing of Vladimir Put In, right?
Oh, Christ.
Hitler. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. I was like, what?
Yeah. Me and Pete
named himself as if Hitler was a title he gave himself?
Yeah. me and Pete out here doing knock-knock jokes, and Jamie's really the Dave Attell of this podcast, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I can only look to his jokes and admire them, really.
He's wearing his hat. So Hitler himself is only mentioned in the comics. His life, death, and involvement seems to be left out entirely. However, in the first Ron Perlman Del Toro film, when there's a character named Broom, which we're going to get into, is telling Agent Myers, who's a film guy, I believe. He's just the audience POV character, so someone can explain to camera what the fuck is happening, why Mr. Water and Hellboy are here to solve crimes, right?
Okay.
the POV character, he explains that Hitler had acquired the Spear of Longinus and had become hugely powerful up until.
I bet your mom has a Longinus.
Yeah, exactly.
I did want to ask why Longinus is the name. Like, it is a name, but
it's how it's pronounced in the film when I watched the clip. It's how John Hurt says it for some reason.
Okay, there you go.
It is Longinus, of course, yeah.
That does feel like the actor read the name, like off the script, as an actor would. Didn't know how, hadn't heard the name, did just pronounce it how they read it off the script, which is fine. But like no one else in the room could correct them.
Yeah, exactly.
Next time, instead of saying that you're eating the original flavor of something, try saying, I'm eating the original flavor of it. It adds a little sauce to it.
And if no one corrects you, officially a power move, right? Like that. So he had the original Spear of Longinus, and had become hugely powerful until finally Hitler was killed in 1958. This is film only canon, but this is our fucking show, and I'm putting it in here since the comics don't have it. So that's it. And then, of course, the Spear of Longinus, or the Lance of Longinus, is a powerful artifact from the anime Neon Genesis Evangelion, and also the Bible.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to stop with Neon Genesis. I was like, yeah, it's also the spear that stabbed Jesus. So
it did pierce the body of Christ.
Probably worth calling that out at Golgotha, which I knew the Spear of Longinus. I didn't. At Golgotha, I learned on the show. We learned together. Calvary Hill. Yeah, Calvary Hill is also known as Golgotha, which is just the place where Jesus was crucified.
Yes.
From the King Arthur episode?
I didn't remember the King Arthur episode, but I did remember that one fact about where they did Jesus bad. And now they're oh my God, they're taking the Son of the Lord. What are they doing to him? This is no good, guys.
What do you want my dad to read the illustrated Bible?
This is no
Dad's
good.
reading the Bible and just Dad reacts to Bible, dude.
And Longinus, Vaginus, as I call him, is now stabbing the Son of the Lord. This is terrible stuff. Oh, this is just terrible.
I don't know if my dad's ever cracked the spine of a Bible, honestly. Probably not.
He seems like a heathen.
He went to Catholic school with your mom. Like, I doubt they did much.
Dude, was that a Catholic school? I don't know that.
VCHS was, yeah.
I didn't know that.
And my high school was Protestant up until Quebec stopped caring about that. That's why he and his best friend didn't go to the same schools. Yeah. There's Pete's dad lore. Also, his episode coming soon about the Bible.
I've been to church camp. All the worst stuff happens there.
Yeah.
But you still read the Bible.
So Himmler offered Rasputin all the money and resources of Germany that they had at the time to find a paranormal method of winning World War II. Rasputin is a bit smarter than he looks. He was just like, the Nazis are never going to fucking win the war. There's way too many Soviets we can sacrifice to stop them. So he used this time and money to basically... Instead of, he was still doing paranormal experiments, right? But he decided to use the resources as a way to summon his new master, the Ogdru Jihad, and start the apocalypse. And then, in the ashes, birth a new Eden from the ruins. So in December 1944, Rasputin and his Nazi benefactors began a ritual to summon the Ogdru Jihad on Ptarmigan Island off the coast of Scotland. I looked to see if Ptarmigan Island was a real place. It doesn't seem to be. I thought Mike Mignola had renamed the Isle of Skye, which I didn't look into, but that is a real place. Only because there is an alien vault on the Isle of Skye in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I've been playing, and they always use real kind of supernatural locations for their alien vaults, basically. I couldn't...
I looked up ptarmigan because I was wondering if just ptarmigan was a real word.
It is. I do have it. Yeah.
Okay, because I know Termagants was like it's like the foot soldier of the Tyranid army in Warhammer 40k. Not to bring it back to Warhammer 40k.
There's a lot of pictures of those when you Google it.
Yeah.
Back in the Middle Ages, the placeholder, because for people who didn't know that it was the same god, spoilers, Termagant was the name Europeans gave to the god worshipped in Islam. Opposed to like Yahweh or whatever, or Christ, basically. They were like, well, no, they worship a guy called Termagant. So it is, the Termagant is the name given there. The not generic term... Sorry?
Not quite as catchy. Yahweh, Christ, Termagant. I don't know.
I mean, it's Allah, right, is what they call God, so...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you were eating, bad corn and old like sheep jerky, and you probably weren't like, oh, it's Allah, in fact, right? Like, so like when the only guy in town who could read told you it was called termagant, that's just what you went.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
The
love
generic
bad corn.
term. Sorry.
I love bad corn.
They didn't even. Would you believe that mid '90s new metal band Korn didn't even exist in the old world?
I hate that fact.
It was
I don't
a
know
new
how
world
they
discovery. That's why they call it new metal.
Tomatoes, corn, a lot of crops that we're very familiar with.
As soon as the Spaniards landed in North America, it's just
Yeah, like all the natives in
Freak
Mexico
on a
were just
leash.
doing corn lyrics, and everybody else is speaking Spanish.
What is this freak on a leash you bring to our country? Oh, these are our pigs. They will roam the land, and they will give us food.
Cortez is just horrified.
Yeah.
Who's the singer of corn?
Speaking of people who deserve a bullet to the head,
Him too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what have we got? 3 now? 4 in this episode?
Neo Cortez, the bad guy in Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah. When
Yeah,
Neo
wouldn't you
Cortez
say?
came to the Americas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Popular podcaster James Miller gets canceled for coming out in defense of Neo Cortez of the Crash Bandicoot.
The jaundiced man who likes to fucking put experiments on marsupials. Yeah.
So the generic term pagan was also used for anybody outside the borders of Christendom at the time. So, Termagant Island is a great like modified name for a spooky evil magic island.
It's false god name, right?
It
or
is.
false god
Again,
island. Yeah.
Credit to him. I mean, Loreboy's credit to him. As far as if I could read
Loreboy's
his
credit.
mind.
Oh, we have a new currency.
I guess so. Well, we gave him credit for the Zoya thing, and then now the Termagant thing. So there we go. Yeah.
Hey, move over lore bucks. You don't need physical currency anymore. We've got lore credit now.
Lore credit now, yeah. Mr. Mignola, you feel free to go into creative debt to me.
Due to the transition to lore credits, Patreon subs are now $6 per month. It's
$2 a boy. Goddamn inflation.
Yeah, exactly. Look, the Central Bank of Lore Boys is trying, but like I don't want anybody to actually like buy a lore home. That would be ridiculous. We got to keep them out of the market. So the ritual worked mostly. The creature that was summoned ended up being the son of Sarah Hughes and Azael, arriving in Bromwich, England, where his mother had died and was dragged down to hell. So this young, childlike monster with a huge stone right arm was found and adopted by Trevor Broom. It's written Brutenholm, but pronounced Broom. I have no fucking idea why this is. And he had discovered him with the help of the U.S. Army and their psychic, Cynthia Eden Jones. She had a vision that something bad was going to happen in Bromwich, which is why the U.S. Military had sent a detachment with a psychic there. And she was, of course, correct, which is where the Nazi ritual had not summoned the demon that they had wanted at the right spot. They had summoned the Harbinger of the
Hellboy.
Apocalypse. Exactly, because he had the right hand of doom, so you can't actually summon Ogdru Jihad directly.
Who would be Doom, I guess, like in a very like literary symbolism sense.
Yeah, he is
Like,
the main
is
bad
Doom,
guy.
right?
Yeah, he's the final battle at the end of the
It's
Bible
the apocalypse,
comic.
and here's this baby. What has the hand of apocalypse, and like, oops,
Exactly.
we got him by mistake.
We made a fist-shaped keyhole to keep the evil dragon away from Jesus, and gave it to him for some reason. I did have a picture of John Hurt as the character. It's the actor John Hurt with gray hair. I guess nobody really needs to see that. The team that discovered the demon baby was, I'm pretty sure, and this might be Loreboy's canon, Loreboy's credit. It was like a proof of concept of what would come to be. So this is kind of the last thing we're going to get into here. So during the Second World War, Trevor Broom was a member of the British Paranormal Society, who was hired by U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt, the wheelchair one, as an advisor when he'd found out the Nazis were also using wizards to try and turn the tide of the war. I think the government, personally, while we're talking about our Patreon inflation, I think the government should still be investing in magic instead of wasting our money on stuff that's not healthcare. I think the wizards would be a little bit fun.
No, I think it's good that we shut down small businesses for not having French.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
Right.
but instead of giving me racist Spotify ads, we could have wizards.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
the
racist Spotify ads are pretty cool though. You gotta admit. You gotta admit.
I do like them.
Coming out now on Audible. Dan Brown's Nazis and Demons. Who's the good guy? I don't know.
Well, I mean, you use the Dan Brown title, Angels and Demons. So you have replaced angels with Nazis. So I'm gonna.
Well, it's Peter's racist.
Oh, it's Peter's lore. You're right. Pete's racist.
So Pete's racist because he gets they know what you want, so that's why they give you the ads.
Yeah,
that's why they do that.
You're right. Yeah, it has nothing to do with having a Quebec IP address.
Yeah, famous lore podcaster James Miller gets canceled for coming out in defense of Neo Cortez from the Crash Bandicoot series. Famous lore podcaster Pete gets canceled for being racist, being super racist. That's awkward.
That's a regular cancellation.
Yeah, well, more awkward in some ways.
I'm pretty sure they cancel you from your real job, and then you have to make your money off your podcast. So it's okay. You'll just get kicked out of his.
Once you get canceled, Ben Shapiro just has a check with your name on it appear in his wallet.
That's it. You sell something. Wow, we just got someone join the Discord named Ron, and I'm gonna assume it's Ron Perlman. I'm sorry, getting super distracted. Right, Ron, you're here. Thank God.
We summoned him, dude.
Holy moly, it worked.
Or the Nazis tried to summon him, and he appeared here.
I think I'm gonna have to make him a Prime sub because so he has the red name for like. But
oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, let's not just like start handing that out willy nilly to anyone.
Just name yourself Ron and join the Discord. Maybe you'll get it. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Link below, baby.
Just be Ron Perlman, and we'll give you a Prime sub.
Yep.
So in the film, it's explained that Hellboy ages much slower than humans. The agent that is again explained to Agent Myers, like the POV guy, referred to as reverse dog ears. So at the time of the movie, chronologically, he's in his 60s, but physically he's barely out of his 20s.
That's just regular dog ears.
Well, no, because dog ears is like 7, right? This is like 3.
Is she wearing a reverse cowgirl hat?
No, but like
I hope so.
He's not aging faster.
No, he's
wait, dogs
reverse
age
dog. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
because it's not like Jamie has an old dog, not a young tortoise. You're right.
That's. I don't get the analogy, but you're right.
It's a line. Okay, listen. It is a line in the script that I put into my script. again,
you put it in when you're sober, and drunk me disagrees. Huh?
Yeah, we established that John Hurt said Longinus and original, and no one stopped him. Okay,
and why would dogs have their ears on backwards? They got to listen forwards most of the time. Stupid.
Well, no, predators come from behind. I don't know why we don't all have our ears on backwards.
They fold backwards so they can hear backwards.
Pivot?
It's like
okay, but not directly behind. They fold.
Here's the thing.
Years.
Here's the thing. I can hear everything that's in front of me. Why not put my ears on backwards so I can hear everything in front of me and behind me?
True.
Just makes more sense.
Or like
I can already hear everything in front of me. A tube. give me the tube ear.
It's a tube with holes.
I said to God when I was being made, give me the tube ear, and he said no.
But I've had 2 beers.
I woke up the ancient dog to play with her ears to show you how dog ears work. I hope you're happy.
Yeah, I was talking about dog years, but anyway,
I offered to kill her on the bonus episode.
He did do that.
Patreon.com/theloreboys.
He was like, Jamie needs a fucking vacation. Let me do it.
First he said he'd bang my grandma, then he said he'd kill my dog. And this is my friend.
Did you laugh? Did you laugh when I said I'd bang your grandma though? I thought that was very funny when I typed it. I was fucking laughing to myself.
Fucking idiot.
I'm pretty sure I like rolled my eyes or something. I was in the middle of something.
I thought it was so funny. I thought it was so funny that you sent me a no context, or you sent me full context pic of your grandma, and I was like, "What a babe would do."
At first I rolled my eyes and I was like, you know what? That's my genes, so I'll take it. Yeah.
Jamie's like in surgery, and a nurse shows him that message. And it's like,
Ethan would fuck a quarter of me. I don't know which quarter, but he'd go after it.
Oh, you know which quarter, baby.
Uh-oh.
Get some of those haunches. So Hellboy also, I guess, mentally matures very slowly, just like us. So even though he's in his 60s, he still is concerned with like fitting in and whatnot, which is why that's why he breaks off his horns and files them down.
He went to the Hellboy premiere with a hot chick and just was like rocking some raging horns the entire time. He was like, I gotta take these
He
things
was
off.
watching a Lore Boys stream and he was just with next to a hot chick. It was just a reverse world.
So he also has like a love of cats and candy and snack foods and whatnot. And he's very like petulant and rebellious throughout the comics and the films, basically.
Cool.
So starting in 1944, the BPRD was formed, and this is the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense. So this is where I think the U.S. government should be spending its money. And this was operating out of a military base, in New Mexico for some time. This is where Hellboy was raised by Dr. Broom, and as well as like some of the Marines around, like some of the other soldiers that had rescued him.
1944, yeah, that's where you should be spending your money, government, on fucking ghosts and ghouls and shit.
Man, Nazi ghouls, dude, that was good money.
I think you had some stuff to take care of. Okay.
Name one thing.
Well, you said it earlier, Pete. Russia won. Like it didn't matter what the U.S. spent their money on. Like the U.S. did end their war with Japan. Like kudos to you, and they were already spending that money, and it was kind of like. Nuclear arms is kind of ghosts and ghouls when you really think about it.
Yeah, well, the nuke was for use against the Nazis, but then Hitler, being bitch made, killed himself, and they were just like, well, we got one more guy, right? One more guy on the hit list before we start the Cold War immediately.
Again, I'm not giving the U.S. too much credit here. Hitler killed himself because the Soviets were coming to cave his skull in.
Look, I know. They were going to kill him with bats. Okay,
yeah, absolutely. Rasputin was gonna give him the Rasputin treatment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
Is he still around in the comics? Like 60 years later, Rasputin?
No, yeah, I left this part out just for the sake of the length of the script. He ends up like in the film, he gets like sucked into the portal and like melted and then comes back. He is eventually destroyed in, I think, the first comic called The Seed of Evil.
This is in the films? Oh man, I don't remember any of this movie.
Again, I was watching clips. The film is from 22 years ago, dude.
I know. I'm just
We were preteen.
I have
boys.
seen it. I think I've seen it a few times. Like I saw it a few times as a kid. And like there's other films of that era which I remember, but like nothing about Hellboy has stuck with me.
I remember the costumes being really good, and then when I looked up some clips when writing this, they're still fucking good because practical effects basically don't age. Unless they're like the really old, like creaky 50s ones, right? Like,
well, that's it.
They're real chest.
They were mastered at the time, right?
Is Hellboy Ron Perlman real chest?
What picture are you talking about?
No, it's just because Hellboy's just jacked.
His mask goes down to his boobies. I'll send to the boys.
Yeah, there you go.
And we'll be sharing with the patrons after the show.
The logo I sent you guys is the crest of the BPRD, basically. So, in 1944, just for like 3 years, they were operating out of a military base in New Mexico. And in 1947, the U.S. government had used some funding to build a custom spooky facility with like basements and housing facilities for everything they would need in Fairfield, Connecticut. Broom would continue to serve as director until 1950. He stepped down and returned to working in the field because his true love was researching spooky bullshit and finding interesting creatures. The new Connecticut facility has multiple custom holding areas for the Bureau's enhanced staff to live comfortably in. So they do have a big fucking aquarium for Mr. Fish or Mr. Water, whose character name is... That's the actor's name, of course, is Mr. Water. The character is Abe Sapien, named after Abraham Lincoln, I almost called him Abraham Simpson, Grandpa Simpson. Who, let's be, out of all the guys we just talked about who deserved a bullet in the head, let's take one off the list for,
Oh, Old Honest Abe? Absolutely.
Old Honest Abe?
Yeah.
Old age should have got
Yeah, they did him wrong. They did
him dirty. Save that bullet for Himmler.
I don't know if it's all the hell talk, but it smells like burning in my building right now.
Well, if your house is burning down, you've got 10 more minutes, so don't worry.
Yo, 4 years, banger track, right? Like we can all agree that shit was fire, dude. Homie dropped the ultimate diss track to slavery.
Yeah, exactly.
The Emancipation Proclamation.
Dude, that's hotter than Drake versus Kendrick, right? The North versus the South, dude. Man,
I wish I knew the lyrics to Kendrick's track better to like think of something funny and relevant for that one.
I only know
I remember is
I
wop
listened
wop 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 certified pedophile.
Yeah.
And A minor is just like
A minor,
which I remember.
I only know it. I haven't heard the song. I've only listened to the QAA episode where they talk about it.
Very popular.
Yes, yeah. I'm glad I got you onto that. That's good. They're good. They did a recent one about Depression era proletariat literature that came out this week, I think. Which I
started listening to that this
fucking
week.
Loved it. Yeah.
You guys listening to BBL Drizzy at all? About
it comes up in that QAA episode. They talk about BBL Drizzy, yeah. Which I had heard before. Kids. I was like, "What the hell is this?" Because it sounds like a song written in the '60s or whatever, and then you realize like, oh no, somebody made it as a loop for Kendrick or something like that, like as a hook for Kendrick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just know it's in Reels and TikToks. It's very popular right now, and it's just funny that the topic is just artificial ass flex. Basically, is what you're saying. Artificial ass, that's damn cool. Hell yeah,
you got that BBL.
Yep.
So Abe Sapien was discovered underneath a building in Washington D.C. and then he has he's kind of literally an empath, but like through psychic powers, he's one of the BPRD's agents, as well as a home for the now adult Hellboy to live in, as well as his crush, the pyromancer Liz Sherman, who is the woman with the fire powers in both the movies, who dates Hellboy. She, when she was young, couldn't control her powers particularly well, kind of like President Amy, I guess, and by accident killed her entire family. So she was also adopted by the BPRD and lived there for...
Burned down my apartment building.
Yeah.
Dude, so he lives with an empath. There's a bunch of like crystals and tarot cards in the house, or what?
Yeah, Mr. Water loves J.O. crystals. It's a big there's a big lore dump at the beginning of the movie.
What's Hellboy's sign?
I'm at the end of TNG, and it's so funny that you went crystals. I was like, oh, it's like living on the Enterprise with Deanna Troi, right? Because she's a Betazoid who just like feels the emotions of everyone around her all the time.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
But yeah, that was Hellboy. I had a lot of fun putting it together. I had a long time too. It's really just like bad organization on my point. I love putting like multiple days into putting an episode together. Again, great suggestion from the patrons and from the listeners who wanted this. It was really
just
good.
For Ethan and I to make silly dick jokes about it.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, that is literally what we have been happily doing for 7 to 8 years. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. So yeah,
happy 7 years, guys.
Yeah, I've been your host, Peter O'Donoghue. You can find me at Lore Boys Podcast on Instagram or in most channels on the Discord linked below. Fellas.
LBJ Lore Boy James on Twitch. We just got Sif down. We just got 4 Kings down. When this comes out, we'll probably be done Dark Souls 1, but we'll be playing Dark Souls 2. So come hang out, Lore Boy James at Twitch.
A bold statement.
Yeah, we got a bunch of people there. I hope to be done Dark Souls by next week, but we'll see.
There's a bunch of optional stuff which you could not do if you didn't want to.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, listener. Thank you. That's the one thing you got to do to be number one in our hearts with a bullet is just freaking listen. Which you done it. You got to the end of this episode. So thank you so much. If you want to do the number 2 thing and be what's more than 1, but not 2. Whatever that number is, if you want to be that number.
Like 1.5.
0. If you want to be number 0 in our hearts.
1.5.
With a bullet. Leave us a review.
Abe Lincoln.
If you want to be number 0 in our hearts with a bullet like Abe Lincoln. Did you know that he was paraded around the country on a train after he died? Like his corpse was? Anyway.
That's a dollop fact I've ever heard one.
Like his body was paraded around the country on a train after he died.
He's like in the coffin and there's like a hole cut in the coffin, top of the coffin for his hat to poke out.
He was tall too. I think he was like 9 feet tall, I think. Maybe 9.5 feet tall, something like that. Yeah.
That's very tall for the time. People were shorter back then.
2 circles in the bottom of the coffin for his BBL Drizzy as well.
If you want to support the show and get your own BBL jersey, the L, of course, standing for lore, Brazilian butt lore jersey, leave us a review, please, and thank you. And tell your friends about the show. It's the only way we continue to grow. So thanks so much for everyone who's done it so far. If you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/theloreboys. We've referenced a few times so far this episode. Go and check it out. We do the bonus content there, which is a lot of fun, and we just talk. It's more just the talking and goofs, less of the lore.
Learn a lot about our lives, what's going on the weekends, what games we're playing, whenever we hang out, old stories from our youth.
Find out next week what happened to Jamie's burned down apartment. And we'll find out.
Yeah.
And of course, if you don't trust Patreon, we do have Lore Boys Prime service, which we always offer. Now, the astute listeners on the show would have heard Pete reference something, a fish-shaped keyhole. Okay, another name for my butt. But we have a not fish-shaped keyhole, but we do have a particularly shaped keyhole. So we need you, the listeners, to submit items from around your home that might fit into this perfect keyhole, and the winner of this prize wins the keys to the Lore Boys factory. You'll take over the show. You'll be driving it. You'll be running it. You'll be managing the Chocolate River, skimming it for dead children.
Damn.
All of this can be yours. Okay?
I can't truncate silence now because that was a good dramatic pause. So I gotta leave Pete's applause breaks in now.
I like the idea of like the sexy pool boy Oompa Loompa skimming out a fat dead German kid.
Okay, well, I didn't write down any art, but maybe sexy
I did. I got two.
Oompa Loompa pool boy might be it, huh?
It's Hellboy.
I think that would constitute a Lore Boy.
Lore Boys
out. Fuck. Shit. Fuck.
Heck boy.
Baby,